How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse, and today we are going to be reviewing the new ASICS Magic Speed. Now, ASICS has been bringing lots and lots of racing flats to the market in 2021, and the Magic Speed is going to be the best value of all of them. This shoe's coming in at $150. It's got the carbon fiber plate, a lot of value squeezed into a lot of performance. So a lot to talk about with the shoe. First, let's dive on into the midsole. We've got full-length FlyteFoam Blast. We've seen FlyteFoam Blast in a lot of ASICS shoes. This is going to be the first one in a racing flat. It's soft, it's responsive. It's not maybe going to be quite as soft as the MetaSpeed Sky, but still a very unique underfoot experience. Now, also when we're comparing it with the MetaSpeed Sky, it is going to be just a little bit lower, still a lot of protection underfoot, but this shoe is going to be closer to that 35 millimeters. So again, I really think this is going to feel a little bit closer to the ground, even a little bit more nimble, and again, a great shoe on workout day. Now, next one up, let's talk about the carbon fiber plate. It works seamlessly with that FlyteFoam Blast midsole to create a highly efficient ride, and it is worth noting the plate is going to run through the forefoot into the midfoot, so it's not full length, not going to be maybe quite as rigid as what we saw in the MetaSpeed Sky, but again, still a very seamless transition. It's got that guide sole technology for a very smooth ride. Overall, the midsole feels really good on the shoe, and again, at $150, when I compare it to some of the other plated shoes on the market from other brands, it's very close, it's right in line, and it's going to be the best bang for your buck. Now, the midsole is going to be probably one of the biggest selling points in the shoe, but let's move on down to the outsole. A lot of rubber here, kind of reminds me a little bit of what we saw in the Hyperspeed. It runs through the forefoot into the heel, just a little bit of exposed material in the heel. But again, lots of rubber, plenty of traction, gonna have pretty good durability. I think you're gonna get better durability out of this shoe than maybe what you see in the MetaSpeed Sky. It is gonna come at the cost of a little extra weight, but I think when you're pounding out workouts, the outsole here in this shoe is gonna be phenomenal. Finishing the shoe off, we've got a simple and breathable mesh design. It's got a nice snug midfoot. It's got a fairly snug toe box. I'd say the MetaSpeed Sky had a little bit more room, but overall there was still a little bit room for your toes to display, but it's gonna be a snug performance fit. In the heel, we've got a little bit of a counter. It's a little stiff, but the shoe has pretty minimal materials in the upper. It's built to be light, coming in at 7.9 ounces. Again, this is gonna be a lightweight racing flat. So overall, what am I going to use this shoe for? I think a few things. Obviously, it is a plated racer, so it's going to be able to perform at a wide variety of distances. It's going to be fast enough to go 5K or 10K, but it's also going to have the protection to go the full marathon distance. But what I think I'm most excited for is to finally have a carbon plated racer at a reasonable price tag. At $150, I'm gonna have no issues pounding out the miles in this shoe, whether it be fartleks, track sessions, tempo runs. It really does have a high level of performance at a reasonable price tag. Now, lots of great racing shoes coming from ASICS in 2021, but those were just my thoughts. Let's head on over to RW Australia and see what Nate thinks of the new ASICS Magic Speed.
Thanks, Connor. After running a fair bit in the ASICS Nova Blast with the FlyteFoam Blast midsole, I was super excited when I got to wear the ASICS Magic Speed and try them out. They also contain that FlyteFoam Blast midsole, plus an asymmetrical carbon plate in the forefoot. I'm gonna go for a run now, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the ASICS Magic Speed. With the FlyteFoam Blast midsole, I didn't find them super soft and squishy, but it still has a lot of cushion to it. Underfoot, after 3 or 4 days of back-to-back sessions in them, runs in them, my legs pulled up feeling really good the next day and the next day after that. Now the stack height, it's a little bit higher than say the Meta Racer, which they released last year, but it's still not a super high stack height underfoot. I found when I was cornering, it was really grounded, great cornering ability. It felt like almost a traditional racer in cornering aspects, but then I got the cushioning factor from a higher stack shoe. The Magic Speed continues the ASICS guide sole technology, and between the foam, the guide sole technology, rocker, underfoot, and the carbon plate, I found it to be really responsive and poppy on toe off. That toe-off sensation is really nice. I really like the glide ride, and I think in the Magic Speed, it just is exponentially better. The upper on the Magic Speed, it's really lightweight, really breathable. I tested these in some 30°C days and they handled it really well. My one concern is the tongue is really thin and lightweight, which is a positive, but sometimes when I wore some lower ankle socks, it could not cut into the ankle, but I felt a little bit of irritation. So going to a higher sock completely eliminated that, and I would have no concerns in a race or a longer training session as long as I wore that higher sock with the upper and that tongue. So overall, the ASICS Magic Speed I really enjoyed. The cushioning, it's not too firm, it's not too soft, it's kind of like the Goldilocks, it's just right underfoot. You also get a lot of blown rubber, so I think these are going to be really durable. Something I'd happily lace up in training, racing a half marathon. I'd even push these comfortably to a full marathon. The upper works with that midsole and outsole. Everything on this shoe just comes together nicely. So it was everything that I kind of was hoping it would be when I first saw it, and so to get to try it, I was really happy with how it performed. So those were our thoughts on the ASICS Magic Speed. You can find these at Running Warehouse and Running Warehouse Australia.